The assembly will now come to order. The chief clerk will call the roll.
Assemblywoman Anderson, Assemblywoman Backus, Assemblywoman Bilbray Axelrod, Assemblywoman Brown-May, Assemblyman Carter, Assemblywoman Cohen, Assemblywoman Considine, Assemblyman DeLong, Assemblywoman Dickman, Assemblyman De Silva, Assemblywoman Duran, Assemblywoman Gallant, Assemblywoman Gonzalez, Assemblywoman Gorlow, Assemblyman Gray, Assemblyman Gurr, Assemblyman Hafen, Assemblywoman Hanson, Assemblywoman Hardy, Assemblyman Hibbets, Assemblywoman Howdigi, Assemblywoman Kasama, Assemblyman Koenig, Assemblywoman LaRue Hatch, Assemblywoman Marzola, Assemblyman MacArthur, Assemblywoman Brittany Miller, Assemblyman C.H. Miller, Assemblywoman Monroe Moreno, Assemblywoman Mosca, Assemblywoman Newby, Assemblyman Nguyen, Assemblyman O'Neill, Assemblyman Orent-Licker, Assemblywoman Peters, Assemblywoman Summers Armstrong, Assemblywoman Taylor, Assemblywoman Thomas, Assemblywoman Torres, Assemblyman Watts, Assemblyman Urick, Assemblywoman Backus, Speaker Yeager.
Here. Assemblywoman Howdigi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. May the record reflect we have 41 members present, 1 absent excused.
The record shall so reflect we have 41 members present, 1 absent excused. That means we do have a quorum. Would members of the assembly and guests please rise? This morning we have the prayer by Chaplain Craig Swope, First Christian Church, Carson City.
Good morning. Let's pray. Father, we gather today to serve, and may we never lose our heart for service. Help us to never forget why we are here. The temptation to serve ourselves is always with us, so help us to be purposeful in finding ways to serve. Let us assume there is something we can do. Let us assume that we can make a difference, and with those assumptions, help us make a difference for those we serve and for those we have not yet met. Let us be an example for service and not self, and we ask this in your Son's name. Amen.
Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Good night, Stu. Thank you. Order business 2, reading and approval of the journal.
Carson City, Thursday, May 11, 2023. Assembly called to order at 11:58 a.m. Mr. Speaker, presiding roll called. All present per by the chaplain, Pastor Gavin Jarvis. God, blessed is your name.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to dispense with the reading of the journal and allow the Speaker and Chief Clerk to make any necessary corrections and additions.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. That will take us to order business 4, reports of standing committees.
Mr. Speaker, Committee on Commerce and Labor, to which were referred Senate Bills 210, 437, and set the same under consideration and begs leave to report the same back. The recommendation do pass. Elaine Marzola, Chair. Mr. Speaker, Committee on Government Affairs, to which were referred Senate Bills 2, 3, 8, 16, 18, 21, 25, 87, 169, and set the same under consideration and begs leave to report the same back. The recommendation do pass. Lana Torres, Chair. Mr. Speaker, Committee on Growth and Infrastructure, to which were referred Senate Bills 2766, has had the same under consideration and begs leave to report the same back. The recommendation do pass. Howard Watts, Chair. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Health and Human Services, to which were referred Senate Bills 42, 44, has had the same under consideration and begs leave to report the same back. The recommendation do pass. Sarah Peters, Chair. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Legislative Operations and Elections, to which were referred Senate Bill 406, Senate Joint Resolution 7 of the 81st session, has had the same under consideration and begs leave to report the same back. With the recommendation do pass. Michelle Gorlow, Chair.
Order business 9, introduction, first reading, and reference of bills.
Assembly Bill 513, introduced by the Committee on Ways and Means, an act relating to foreclosure mediation, eliminating the foreclosure mediation program, and providing other matters properly relating thereto.
Assemblywoman Monroe Moreno.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that AB 513 be referred to your Committee on Ways and Means.
Without objection, so referred. Order of business 11, second reading and amendment.
Assembly Bill 404, introduced by the Committee on Judiciary, an act relating to civil actions excluding certain healthcare professionals from the definition of provider of healthcare for certain purposes, increasing the limitation on the amount of non-economic damages a plaintiff may recover in a civil action against a provider of healthcare for professional negligence, revising the statute of limitations for bringing an action against a provider of healthcare for injury or death based upon professional negligence, professional services rendered without consent or error, or omission in practice, repealing various requirements and restrictions concerning a civil action against a provider of healthcare for professional negligence, and providing other matters properly in thereto. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in Senate and Assembly, do enact as follows: Section 1, end of Section 1, Section 6, end of Section 6, end of bill.
Are there any amendments to Section 1 or the bill as a whole?
There are none.
The bill is ordered to general file. Assemblywoman Howdiggy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. May we go to Order of Business 8?
Order of Business 8.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that Assembly Bill 404 be taken from its place on general file and be placed on the Chief Clerk's desk.
Assemblywoman Howdiggy has moved that Assembly Bill 404 be taken from its place on general file and placed on the Chief Clerk's desk. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. Order of Business 12, general file and third reading.
Senate Bill 37, introduced by the Committee on Judiciary, an act relating to attorneys, authorizing governmental attorneys to volunteer as third-party neutral mediators under certain circumstances, and providing other matters properly in thereto. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in Senate and Assembly, do enact as follows: Section 1, end of Section 1, end of bill.
Are there any amendments to Section 1 or the bill as a whole?
There are none.
Remarks. Assemblywoman Summers Armstrong.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senate Bill 37 authorizes an attorney employed by the state of Nevada or any agency or political subdivision of the state to act as a neutral third-party mediator to help parties resolve a dispute or other matter, providing the attorney has the permission of his or her supervisor. The involved parties have no conflict of interest with the attorney's employer. The mediation is provided through or in association with an organization that provides such services. The attorney receives no compensation for such service, and the attorney complies with the Nevada Rules of Professional Conduct.
Are there any further remarks? Seeing none, the Chief Clerk will open the roll. Would anyone like to change their vote? The Chief Clerk will record the vote. There are 41 ayes, 1 absent excused. The bill having received a constitutional majority declared passed in order to transmit it to the Senate. Senate
Bill 55, introduced by the Committee on Judiciary, an act relating to courts, revising provisions governing the clerks of a justice court, revising provisions relating to the jurisdiction of justice courts in criminal cases, revising the amount of credit a court must provide for community service, repealing obsolete provisions relating to the successors of a justice of the peace, and providing other matters properly in thereto. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in Senate and Assembly, to enact as follows: Section 1, end of Section 1, Section 13, end of Section 13, end of bill.
Are there any amendments to Section 1 or the bill as a whole?
There are none.
Remarks. Assemblywoman LaRue Hatch.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senate Bill 55 cleans up language relating to the courts, specifically regards to minimum wage for community service and court titles.
Are there any further remarks? Seeing none, the Chief Clerk will open the roll. Would anyone like to change their vote? The Chief Clerk will record the vote. There are 41 ayes, 1 absent excused. The bill having received a constitutional majority declared passed in order to transmit it to the Senate.
Senate Bill 62, introduced by the Committee on Judiciary, an act relating to the Commission on Judicial Discipline, clarifying the jurisdiction of the Commission and the State Bar of Nevada with regard to judges who are licensed to practice law in the state, and providing other matters properly in thereto. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in Senate and Assembly, to enact as follows: Section 1, end of Section 1, Section 3, end of Section 3, end of bill.
Are there any amendments to Section 1 or the bill as a whole?
There are none.
Remarks. Assemblywoman Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senate Bill 62 is relating to the Commission on Judicial Discipline, clarifying the jurisdiction of the Commission and the State Bar of Nevada with regard to judges who are licensed to practice law in the state.
Are there any further remarks? Seeing none, the Chief Clerk will open the roll. Would anyone like to change their vote? The chief clerk will record the vote. There were 41 ayes, 1 absent excused. The bill having received a constitutional majority declared passed in order to transmit it to the Senate.
Senate Bill 67, introduced by the Committee on Judiciary, an act relating to parole, revising the definition of the term sexual offense for the purpose of certain provisions relating to parole and providing other means properly thereto. The people of the state of Nevada represented in Senate and Assembly do enact as follows: Section 1, end of Section 1, Section 8, end of Section 8, end of bill.
Are there any amendments to Section 1 or the bill as a whole?
There are none.
Remarks. Assemblyman Gray.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senate Bill 67 revises the definition of sexual offense in statutes relating to parole to conform to the definition elsewhere in the Nevada Revised Statutes, with the effect of ensuring that persons who have been convicted of certain sexual offenses but who are not currently subject to related provisions governing parole will be subject to these provisions going forward.
Are there any further remarks? Seeing none, the chief clerk will open the roll. Would anyone like to change their vote? The chief clerk will record the vote. There were 41 ayes, 1 absent excused. The bill having received a constitutional majority declared passed in order to transmit it to the Senate.
Senate Bill 171, introduced by Senators Harris et al., an act relating to crimes prohibiting the purchase, possession, or ownership of a firearm by a person who has been convicted of committing or attempting to commit a crime motivated by certain characteristics of the victim and providing other means properly thereto. The people of the state of Nevada represented in Senate and Assembly do enact as follows: Section 1, end of Section 1, Section 3, end of Section 3, end of bill.
Are there any amendments to Section 1 or the bill as a whole?
There are none.
Remarks. Assemblywoman Howdegi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senate Bill 171 prohibits a person from purchasing, owning, or having in possession, control, or custody a firearm if the person has been convicted in the immediately preceding 10 years of committing or attempting to commit an offense that is a gross misdemeanor constituting a hate crime under Nevada law.
Are there any further remarks? Assemblyman Gurr.
Doesn't want me to speak. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise in opposition to Senate Bill 171. Order of Business 15, please.
Order of Business 15.
Senate Bill 171, a bill that restricts Second Amendment rights and was ran through during only one public hearing, which minimized public participation regarding extremely controversial issues, limiting Second Amendment rights through vague and ambiguous definitions of hate crimes. The bill adds, I think, nonviolent hate crimes to the list of offenses with which someone can lose their Second Amendment rights. We already have laws restricting violent criminals from purchasing firearms in Nevada, and thus I believe the letter of the law is already satisfied by existing statute. We already have laws designed to keep guns out of the hands of same violent criminals, and thus that would fall under this law. The only effective change to SB 171 would be to add nonviolent hate crimes to legal precedent. Considering our First Amendment rights and how many other countries have lost their free speech rights to hate speech laws, I believe this is a very dangerous precedent to set. And I would add that if this body would expend more time, energy, and resources to resolving our huge mental health issues and our revolving door legal system, we may have an impact in the future on these issues without passing any more duplicative laws. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Assemblyman. Are there further remarks? Assemblywoman Peters.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise in support of SB 171. Order of Business 15.
Order of Business 15.
Today, we have an opportunity to reaffirm our promise that hate has no home here in Nevada. Senate Bill 171 is a common sense measure that will prevent criminals convicted of hate crimes from having access to firearms, which they could use to commit further crimes. We know that not only is gun violence on the rise, but also, too, are hate crimes. As the vice chair of the LGBTQ+ caucus, I'm particularly disturbed by the fact that members of the LGBTQ+ community were the second most likely to be victims of hate crimes. Hate crimes are committed against the marginalized and the vulnerable, those we have a duty to protect. I urge you all to join me in supporting Senate Bill 171 to create a safer and more inclusive Nevada.
Seeing no further remarks, the chief clerk will open the roll. Would anyone like to change their vote? The chief clerk will record the vote. There are 27 ayes, 14 nays. The bill, having received a constitutional majority, declared passed and ordered immediately transmitted to the Senate. That will take us to order business 15, remarks from the floor. Assemblywoman Hanson, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I hope that everybody had a wonderful Mother's Day weekend, and I was asked to take a moment to share some thoughts about Mother's Day. Above our chamber presides President Abraham Lincoln. Perhaps most of you are familiar with the famous quote that he said, "All that I am or ever hope to be, I owe to my angel mother." It was in 1914 that President Wilson made Mother's Day the second Sunday in May, or the second weekend in May, to be a national holiday. Now, I'm sure that hopefully all of us paid tribute to our own mothers over the weekend. Some of us our mothers have passed on, that being the case with mine and my beloved mother-in-law, but nonetheless, a time never goes by that I don't think about them. Many of us have mothers by birth or by adoption, and then there are the other mothers. Those are our mother-in-laws, the stepmothers. Sometimes we might not have been blessed with a mother that could have mothered us the way that we would have liked to. And so there are other mothers that step into the fray. Those might be aunts or sisters or teachers. And I know in my life I was blessed with a wonderful mother, but it was the mother of my best friend when my life was filled with a lot of turmoil that she stepped into the fray and really mothered me. And so Mrs. Luce was really fundamental to the mother that I am today. And then there are those that long to be a mother but suffer the inability to conceive or to carry a baby. And our prayers are with them that there will be a time when that desire will be fulfilled. And so in closing, I would just like to mention that of all the titles, I think we're also honored to be here in this body and to be called an assemblyman or assemblywoman. But for me, no other title is greater than that of being a mother. So I appreciate you and appreciate that we could maybe take a moment to give our thanks to all the mothers that have mothered us in some way or another. Thank you.
Assemblywoman Gorlow.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today I have with me Tim Provost. Please stand up. Tim is with Raise the Future, which focuses on children in foster care so they have a meaningful adult in their life with the ultimate goal of hard-to-place children being adopted. I would appreciate if everyone could help me make him feel welcome. So thank you for being here.
Assemblywoman Monroe Moreno.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today marks the beginning of First Responders Appreciation Week. This week, we recognize and honor the often thankless acts of public service that first responders perform every single day. Across our state and our nation, first responders put their lives on the line to keep us and our communities safe. From the most rural parts of Nevada to our largest communities, they are dedicated public servants and professionals who we rely upon in our most desperate times of need. So this week, to every one of my first responder brothers and sisters, I want you to know that we see you, we recognize you, and we truly appreciate you.
Assemblyman Urich.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to dovetail on my colleagues' comments on the First Responders Week, and today just stand and recognize National Law Enforcement Memorials Day. The idea of Peace Officers Memorial Day came into effect in 1961. It was when Congress asked the President to designate May 15th to honor law enforcement officers throughout our country. President John F. Kennedy signed that law into effect on October 1st, 1962. So today, I ask that we honor and remember the brave men and women who have given their lives in the line of duty. National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Day is a time to reflect on the sacrifices that have been made by those who have served and continue to serve in law enforcement. These individuals put their lives on the line every day to protect and serve our communities. They are our friends, our family members, and neighbors. They are heroes who deserve our utmost respect and gratitude. So let me take a moment to remember those who have fallen, thank those who continue to serve. We owe them a debt of gratitude for their selflessness and bravery. May we never forget their sacrifice. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. If I might have another personal moment of privilege here to introduce once again my legislative family to the last two members of my personal family. You've met them all except for my twin boys, Tyler and Trey. Trey is my third born, number 3. As a father, I could not be more proud of these young men. They just wrapped up their junior year of college. They are just amazing, respectful, hardworking, dedicated young men, and I am so glad to be able to have them here today on the floor and join us. They are also, just so you know, if you get a chance to see them today, ask them about it. They are what they call mirror twins, and if you're not familiar with that, literally in every way possible, they are the exact opposite. So you could talk to them about that today if you would like so, but if you would just help me welcome to this body. Thank you.
Assemblyman Gray.
Thank you again, Mr. Chair. If you could please stand up. Today with me, I have one of my constituents, Mr. Ron McMillan. He's a retired Assistant Chief of Police from Westerville, Ohio, who is now, like I said, one of my constituents living over in Genoa. And if you all get a chance, just welcome him to this body today and show him how welcoming Nevadans are. Thank you.
Assemblywoman Cohen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In the United States, Jews account for merely 2.4% of the population, but in the United States, they are also the victims of 8.7% of all hate crimes and 55% of all religious hate crimes. 40% of American Jews have avoided visiting locations, wearing symbols and sharing content identifying them as Jews. In 2021, 1 out of 4 American Jews reported having been the target of anti-Semitism over the previous 12 months. Anti-Semitism is on the rise in the United States and throughout the world. This isn't just a threat to the Jewish community, because acceptance of hate in any form is a threat to America as a whole. Given all of this, the Foundation to Combat Anti-Semitism has launched a new national campaign to mobilize all Americans to stand up to Jewish hate by using the blue square emoji as a unifying symbol of support. To learn more, please visit standuptojewishhate.org or follow them on their multiple social media platforms. Also, please wear the blue square emoji pin, which is on your desk, to show your support for the campaign and to stand up to Jewish hate. Thank you.
Do we have any other order of business 15? Assemblywoman Howdiggy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am going to give my announcements now for the body. Some quick announcements for events going on in the building today. Today is the Nevada chapter of American Society of Landscape Architects. As you heard from my colleague, today is also First Responders Appreciation Day. At the Chief Clerk's desk, we do have pictures for you to preview. And again, if you would like to order any of the pictures, please remember to fill out your order forms and have those to Mr. Cook by today. Tomorrow at the building is United Way Day as well. And seeing no other business before us, Mr. Speaker, I would move that we stand in recess until 1:15 p.m. today. So members, if you have not had lunch, please have lunch and eat in the Assembly Democrats Caucus room. And if you go to your offices, just please remember to be back on floor by 1:15 today. Thank you.
Assemblywoman Howdiggy has moved that the Assembly stand in recess until 1:15 p.m. this afternoon. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. We are in recess.